What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Panels on Pages. My name is Dalibor Zujovic, the indie hype man, and I am here today with an indie publisher, Fake Comics. Thomas Moran, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for asking.
I'm excited to have you on. We've been chatting back and forth since I want to say probably Flurry 1 was when we first kind of met up online. And maybe even before that. I don't know. It's been a minute because I saw you at a
It,
show years ago. And that's when I saw not Flurry, the other one. Harriers?
there was Harrier, Flurry, and then Beats is the new one.
Yeah,
So
you had Harrier for sure at the show.
yeah,
I think Flurry was like upcoming at that point.
upcoming or just released. It was somewhere in there. Yeah.
So yeah, it's we've been chatting back and forth for a minute, and I had you in the magazine, and now we're at Beats 2 on Kickstarter, live now, already funded.
Yep.
And I actually just finished reading the Beats One. Fantastic read, super
Thank
exciting.
you.
I love her power set, and I love how we just jump into like this is established. There's already a mythos. Like we're in media res is like my favorite way to tell a story. You jump into the action and you're just like, hey, this stuff's already going on, and that's why like the cops already know her. She's not like, oh, who's this person? Like we've skipped all the sort of like initial kind of stuff that people kind of rely on in a first issue. It's just like, hey, this person's been around. They know what their power set is. Cop was even like, hey, oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry, you can't speak. And that's also an interesting. So let's start there. It's an interesting choice. You have a character who can't speak as your main character. Where did that come from?
So that actually came from a friend of mine. Sorry about that noise. So her mom is mute, and I was like, I want to like. I kind of thought about it. I'm like, I got this character that I had in mind. She uses sound, but I didn't want it to make it like, Banshee or Black Canary. I'm like, I want something new. And so I was like, what if she can't use that? What if she can't use her own sound as a weapon? And that's kind of where it came from. And I want, I was like, there's other ways that sound can be manipulated in so many different ways that I'm like, it can be a real cool idea to float around for a character. And as for the starting off where it's already established, I didn't want to start off with another origin story. And it's the same kind of thing with a lot of my comics. I don't Origin stories are nice, but I'd rather have the reader dive into the world that's already established, and then we'll get to some flashbacks here and there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that just because it gets you excited right off the bat. I really was expecting this to be like an origin moment, right? They were like, oh, there's a
Yeah.
bomb, and I'm like, oh, is this like where my first thought was, oh, this is where she gets her powers. Because that's like you're expecting that as a reader. I was just like, oh, in
Yeah.
suit handling business. I was like, oh, okay, we're just getting into it. I love it.
Yeah. That was honestly that scene I've had in my head for such a long time, and I was so happy to finally get it out there that she just stands up like, I got this, and just holds it, and you're just like,
That's a
did she
that's and
just do
that's a
that?
crazy moment too. That's a crazy moment because like I've again, like you said, I haven't seen sound powers used this way. I think that probably the closest I've seen something like this is what's her name? Songbird in Marvel. She's
Yeah.
done a few things where she's like held stuff like that with her powers. But like it's a lot more showy when she does it. Like a lot of the thing that they do with sound or Songbird is that she like creates these visible constructs and stuff. And and this was just it really looked like she was just holding this explosion for dear life. And I just that was really it's a great moment and you see uh and you address it in the issue, but it's like you're wondering like is she that confident? Is this just like blind confidence or does she just know she's got this? Like it's you as a reader you're like, "Oh, this is a cool moment, but like should I be concerned or is this just like run of the mill? She's just handling business, like so it's
Yeah.
interesting, it's intriguing, and it pulls you through the issue. Like I got I got through that moment. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what's next? Like, if that's where we're starting, where are we going now? Like,
Oh, it escalates. I'll tell you that much. I'm sure you've seen some of the preview pages for number two already.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot, uh, and as you've seen, probably I don't know if you saw the original cover. I don't know if you saw that. There are three heroes that we are going to see for the next one. The one that's being Kickstarter beats two.
Okay.
And they are the Justice League or Avengers
Oh
of this
wow.
world.
Okay.
And and the thing is like if they're coming in, what is going on?
Fair.
And it's gonna be pretty crazy, but we also still get to see more of her, to understand where her principles are, and just a little bit of how these powers may have came to be.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and it's good to have that information as a reader too, because it
Yeah.
knowing like connecting those details, connecting those dots helps you like kind of ingratiate yourself with the character and like really connect. So I love to hear that there will be some origin talk.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for two. Like I said, I I've seen you've had kind of a up and down thing with Kickstarter. Like you've had some kind of near misses and like what's what do you think is going on with that? Because this is a quality
It,
book. You produce quality
Trust
work.
me,
I don't
trust me.
understand where the miss is.
I've asked the same thing to myself tons of times. I've been going on TikTok, like trying my best to do anything I can to get just something. I've done Facebook, X, Blue Sky, everything, and like I'm sharing with friends, going to comic book shops, putting banners, and it's like, what is going on? Just give it a chance. Like that's all I'm asking. I'm making it cheap. For those who really don't know, and I've talked to you about this on Kickstarter, especially with this, starting at this one, we've made it super cheap, super affordable, just as a regular comic will be for Marvel, DC, all that stuff for people can just read. So trust me, when you say the Kickstarter thing, I'm still like I get lost. I don't know, what's going on, but I kind of just trust the process and keep going.
Yeah, I mean that's all you could do, right? There's as much as we sit out here as creators and speak up on platform issues. Rarely do platforms bend to our will. Unfortunately, we sort of have to
Yeah.
dance within their rule set. So that's why I think we've seen a lot of people resort, and I say resort because honestly, it feels like a sort of like a cheap way out, like sort of like you're not resting on the laurels of your work, you're selling a specific thing. That's why I think we've seen a lot of people resort to like sexy covers, right? Sexy variants
Yeah.
are just the rage on Kickstarter. And even if the book doesn't have that kind of material, even if the book doesn't really even have anything remotely close to that, people will still do a sexy cover. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like this isn't what the book is about. Like I get it if that's the content of the book and it's it's a sexy thing, sure, whatever. Do what you need to do. But it's like it's the same way when I see somebody like a J. Scott Campbell do a sexy cover for X-Men, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
like this is not what this book is about. This is not about like Danger Girl. Sure, yeah, that's the whole point. Is they're sexy spies? Like that's the whole premise. I get that,
Yeah.
but like X-Men is not that. That's not what the series is about. So it's like it's just like there's a disconnect in my brain. So like I don't particularly like when people resort to that, and that's like if that's not part of the book, if that's not part of the story, to just be like, oh, let's do some like, me and my buddy Brian, we always call them titty covers. You got to do a titty cover to make money on Kickstarter, and it's like it's sad, but like
It's the
what
truth,
works
and it's
works,
it's sad.
the what works works. The market speaks, so like the most money goes to those campaigns. So as somebody who's doing it, I don't want to say like correctly, but like more truthful to like what you're creating, it's harder. It's just harder. And
It
that's,
is.
it's
It
your
is.
slope, your stair climb is way steeper. Everybody else is on the escalator.
Yeah, it's been weird because I've to myself, I'm like, I don't want to resort to that. That's not something as a writer who really indulges in these stories that I'm like, I don't want a cheap win just to sell my comic. Would I love to just suddenly spike in popularity and get these books out and read? Yeah, I'd love that, but it's like I'm not resorting to that level. It's not who I am. I've had some fun covers, but I wouldn't call them sexy covers.
Right.
Like the one I got for Beats 2, I actually just put the preview up this week. It is Fate's Angels. It is the 1 out of 5 variant. And it has Harrier, Flurry, and
Oh yeah, yeah. So I just saw
Beats
that.
doing the Charlie's Angels pose.
And that's cool. And that's a fun cover. And that's I see. I would much rather personally, I would much rather see an homage like that, kind of like a wink nudge to like something classic, something well known. You know, like a great example is always the Crisis. Was it Crisis 12 or Crisis 8? The dead Supergirl, right? Like
Yeah,
the hero holding the dead somebody, and it's like the big world behind them. Like that's like a classic, the Wolverine claws thing that's been duplicated multiple times. There's just like all these classic moments that are like they like itch, they scratch a little corner of like your nerd spirit as you look at a comic and you're like, oh yeah, 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 okay, I see what you're going with, where you're going with that.
yeah. Like with covers, we really try to be we try to be creative as much as we can. Let me show you real quick. So you probably have Beats one sitting around maybe, but when she's from St. Louis, I had to add the arch and the building, the Capitol building there because I'm like that's an iconic St. Louis thing right off the bat. I have to show it, and even I don't know if you've read it yet, Wardens 2. Um, we wanted to show all the things that highlight what is in the book and why somebody should be, excited to read it. And when we do these choices for covers, usually most times they have a meaning behind it.
As they should. I'm not a fan of, and even in Marvel and DC, like when they just do like, here is just like a character pose. It has nothing to do with the book. It has, it's like, sure, the character's in it, but like it doesn't have to do with the story. My favorite covers have always been like a different take on a plot point. Like something's happening in this book, and it's like either like the mystery reveal, or like some of my favorite covers have had dialogue on them, because then it's like the like actual tease of like, oh my god, why are you here, like something like that, and it's like,
Yeah.
who's here, let's buy this book, what's going on, like it gives you something to latch onto. So like I think having something that relates to where the character is or what the character's doing, and just like brings out kind of the core of what's happening, I think that makes the best cover, because it's like the like splash cover where it's like just a cool hero pose. Those are cool or whatever, but like even the ones that are like top tier artists, like Alex Ross covers, right? They're beautiful. Alex Ross does beautiful covers, but like he did those Marvel covers for a couple years where it was just like classic like 70s like torso. And that's it. That was the
He
whole.
did that. They had those timeless covers. Was it last year or the year before? And I was just kind of like, that's cool, but what does this have to do with the
Right.
book?
That's just like, oh, cool. All right. Like, so it's just like Alex Ross getting his bag, which I've said before, I'm never going to get in the way of somebody's bag. Get your money. But like,
Oh yeah.
that's not my kind of cover. I'd much rather have like a deep cut from the series or a deep cut from that story. Like it's, if something crazy was revealed in the last issue, then you like go from the other character's perspective. So you don't see what was revealed, but it's just like, you still get that like, holy crap, what was revealed, did I miss something, then you got to make sure you got the last issue. Like it just kind of gets you thinking and gets you engaged.
Which is why I was so happy when like we're during the failure of the first launch and this launch, um, there was a character in there that I'm like, I kind of want to redesign them. I don't think this is doing them justice. So I scrapped that cover and I'm sure you've seen the main cover. You see a basically a Hulk-like villain standing in front of her,
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, yeah. There's more to that than just what you're seeing.
right.
She's tackling a lot in this issue, and that's kind of the basically it's both what do you call it, metaphorical and literal, and of what she's up against.
That's amazing. See, I like to see that. I like to see that the stakes get higher. I liked in the first issue you had you had the family moment, but like you saw that there was a bit of conflict within the family dynamic, and I'm not going to say what it is because I think it's kind of a moment. And when I saw the first half of the interaction, I was like, did he just do that? Like what? So like just having that moment like with her father of like bit of conflict and giving her a chance to stand up for herself uh really like it gives us an idea of her character and who she is, but then
Hmm.
also kind of speaks to a little bit more of the dynamic and like all right, maybe things aren't so like hunky-dory because like when you first see the family dinner kind of thing, it's like oh it's cool, but then it's like oh maybe there's a little more, maybe a little more friction than it seems.
Yeah, that scene was a little hard to write just because I wanted to make sure it went off right. Um, is that the thing was to show that, she has a loving family that she's not scared to go to, that she does care for, but there's obviously something there that she's like not wanting to deal with. Um, and you kind of see what the problem kind of is, just a little bit. You see a little bit of what's going on, and that you will see a little more of why that might be going on in the second issue. You'll see a little bit more like, okay, now I'm kind of getting there of what might be going on.
Gotcha. I'm gonna say that's I'm excited to see more of the story because it's like I said, it's a very engaging story. The character is very interesting. I love the design is dope. The design is dope. It's like a cool. It's like it's feeling a little 90s and like a little early 2000s. Like it's kind of a classic style. Um, and I just like a design that has a little flowy bits to it. Like I like she's got like the skirt bit that's like a
Hmm.
little flowy. Like I actually do enjoy something that's not just like a skin tight outfit because I
And
think
that does, sorry to interrupt you.
no,
That
you're good.
design, I wanted to get to it before we kept that design, the skirt part. So I've been a big fan of The Legend of Korra.
Oh,
That
okay,
skirt
yes. Oh my
is
god, how
where
did I not see it? How did as soon
I
as you said that, it makes perfect sense. Yes, yes. Oh my god, that's amazing. I love Legend of Korra. Korra was fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that world total is great, but like Legend of Korra was really, really good. That I will say that first season was a little tougher for me to get into because the villain of the first half was kind of boring. Like I didn't care, and honestly, the thing that got me through the first half of that season was the sports stuff. I was fascinated by this like bending sport, so I was like, "This is dope!" Like I'm so just like, what are the rules? Like I'm trying to figure it out as they're doing it. I'm like, I don't know. Some of this stuff seems like it should have been called. So I'm like getting invested in the sport, and then because like that first, I don't know, like that first kind of like street gang thing, first half of the season, I was like, kind of whatever. I don't really care, but then like they built up to a much better story. But like, yeah, it's a great series.
Yeah, I love both Avatar series. I've got all the comics too, and I've read them all. But for Korra, what really grabbed me was how grounded they were making the Avatar to the city and the world, and that you're really seeing the consequences.
Yes,
With the original, you never really got to see the consequence. Like you saw that, oh, he wasn't here for 100 years, cool, and then they're just having a fun adventure. With Korra, it's like, oh no, if you do something, there are consequences now
There's a
because you made
society.
that decision. And I'm like, I love that because we never got to really see the consequences. They just kind of they kind of brushed over it. Whereas this one, you got to see it, and with originally it being that you don't know he's a bloodbender, it's like, oh, he's doing a Ty Lee thing. That is terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that it was a great series. It was a great series. I'm
Oh,
I'm I'm
I
interested to
loved
see
it.
what the new one is going to be.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm excited.
I don't know that I love the idea of moving forward in the timeline because some of the like modernizations of Korra were kind of like cars and stuff, like whatever. Um, because I like like sort of the reveal of planes at the end of Avatar, right? It was just like, holy crap, they got planes. This is gonna be a problem. But then like we
Oh
went from
yeah.
that to like full 1920s. like concrete buildings, like radio, all this stuff. I was just like, oh, okay. I guess that's the jump we're making. All
Yeah, I
right.
mean I guess that's what happens when there's about 50 years of peace.
Oh yeah, right. You can just
But yeah, that's where her skirt came from. Is I really wanted to implement that in there with the blue and everything. And so the other thing I had to add was, especially with her powers, is kind of like a headset. It was something that I'm just like, she has to have it. There is a reason for of why she always, even I'm sure as you've seen on the opening page, she has her headset too. Um, we will eventually see why she always has it. There is a reason behind it.
I have a theory, so I won't say it because I feel like it'd be spoiler territory. So, but I have a theory already. See, and this is how you know you've written a good book. I'm already in. I'm already theorizing.
Oh yeah, and yeah, like so I won't go too much into it, but I'm sure you've seen that we were nominated in Heroic.
I saw that. Yeah, congratulations.
So thank you for we were doing for lettering. I did put for story and lettering for Wardens too. Unfortunately, we just got lettering. Um, but honestly, to me, uh, like if you think Beats is good, um, you might want to check that out.
Okay. All right. Noted. Noted.
Noted. But no, Beats 2, for sure is probably going to be one of the craziest roller coaster comics you've probably read in a while.
Okay. All right. That's a good sales pitch to me. I like a good roller coaster comic.
It opens a lot of doors, and I'm so happy with it. And we're also, I guess I'll just get to this. We're also in the making of Flurry number three already too.
Nice. Nice.
Mm.
So
I Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, is are all of the books are all of them in the same universe?
Yes.
Okay.
Besides Wardens, they're all the superhero books are in the same universe.
Yeah, because Wardens is more of like a ninja samurai kind of joint.
Yeah, fantasy 1920s. Yep.
1920s
It
fantasy.
oh yeah.
It's not gonna be like a secret prequel, is it?
No. No. It was originally a pitch to Image. I got an email back from them that it's not what they were looking for, and they gave me a few little things, but it just wasn't what they were looking for at the time. So I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'll publish it myself and just keep going.
Interesting. See, I don't understand what their what their qualifications are for accepting books because I've seen them and a bunch of different studios sort of decline people that I talk to. I'm like, what are they looking for? Like the product is good. Like I've seen the
Mm.
product, I've read the product, it's good. What's missing? Like what exactly is missing? And I've just never understood it because it's like their submission guidelines don't specify like a genre, or they don't specify anything regarding like story. So
Yeah.
it essentially that it ends up feeling like this is just, classic kind of old school gatekeeping. Like somebody there is just like arbitrarily making taste decisions. There's
Uh,
somebody
yeah.
there, whether it's Eric Larson or somebody else, is just sitting there like, yes, no, yes, I like the art, I don't. Like it just seems super arbitrary because I've seen people who have, you know, obviously everything's subjective, but like in my opinion, like the best books, and they're like, oh yeah, I got declined. And I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? I was like,
Yeah.
top
So,
tier art. I'm like, the
so
story's fantastic. Like, what's the problem?
yeah. So, for a lot of the publishers that I've seen, and there's a lot more since I published Image now. There are tons out there now, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy for that. For Image, though, specifically, I've noticed they don't really take new creators. If you don't have one thing pitched by a different publisher, it seems like more times than not they're gonna say no because
Mm,
they don't want to carry something that they can't trust yet.
I see.
Um,
I see.
yeah,
Which to me
and
sounds like a
yeah,
betrayal of the founding principles of Image Comics.
I mean, I get it. I do. You're one of the top indies. And that will always be an argument if they're really indie anymore, but that's a whole other topic. But that is my aim always when I submit anything is let's aim high and then figure out from there.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it definitely like. So I actually like to get into that conversation of whether Image is still indie because, um, I think especially more so with their recent kind of partnerships and stuff that they've had with Ghost Machine and them. Like, is it fair? Like, yes, technically, Ghost Machine
by
is not
definition,
it's not Marvel and it's not DC, so thus it's indie. But like, it's like saying, oh, Kevin Smith did his own movie and put it out on YouTube. Of course it's gonna get 5 million views. What do you mean? It's Kevin Smith. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
oh, Jeff Johns is putting out a book. I'm like, okay, right, but Jeff Johns has like a fan base that he built over at DC for the last 20 years. So like, I can't really wrap my head around it with, oh, he's indie. Now I will I
yeah,
will credit I will credit them, him and Ghost Machine. They have been on some, like, a year ago I probably could have got them all on my show
yeah,
because they were like they were trenches. They were like, we're gonna baseline, like we're gonna go to the smaller podcasts, like we want to get to as many people as we can. So they went on every show they could get to, um, which is ironic because like you're Jeff Johns. I feel like you just tweet or post or whatever, hey, I've got a new book out, and you get 10,000 books sold. It was
yeah.
just like on accident. Like,
And that's what I think Image mostly aims for is that bar.
yeah,
That they don't have to worry about a book. And that's the one thing with independent. By definition, it is a lot of the books are still very independent creator owned. So by definition, yeah, you're still technically indie,
right,
but you're not doing what was the real mission here. And that's
yeah,
giving a lot of even smaller creators the opportunity. And I get it; they probably have hundreds upon hundreds of submissions too.
yeah, of
So
course, of
so it's
course.
not it's not like oh they don't try. It's
Yeah, and of course,
who do we trust to
from
make
a
the best
financial
book?
perspective, I understand like not wanting to take the risk, and like, oh, if we take the risk on like 5 books and only 3 of them sell, well, now we've like eaten the cost of 2 books, which just washes. Then like the any profit we make out of the other ones is just paying for the 2 that didn't sell. So it's
Yeah,
like I get the business decision, but it's like I don't know, like I've seen people who are like fully done with the book. You know what I mean? Like they have
Mhm.
an art team, they have everything lined up. They are in the process of finishing their final issue. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm having trouble finding a publisher. And I was like, but the book is done. You've already
Yeah.
sold, you've independently already sold issues. You have numbers. What
Yep.
do you mean? What do you mean you can't find somebody to publish the last issue or publish the collection? Like, um, I like to go back to my friend Jenny. She did a book called Flutter, and it's a great book. It's a fantastic book. Like super. I thought it was going to be a slice of life story, and then I got into it, and then like it turned into an action thriller out of fucking nowhere, and I was just like, what is happening? I'm in. I'm so in. Like there's like soldiers busting down doors and shit. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like
Oh, and
so.
so here's the thing that's crazy is I've probably read so many self-published books. It's not even funny. Like I literally go to cons that I'll be having a table at, but I'll tell the people I have working with me, I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna go around to all the self-publishers and stuff like that, and I'll basically buy a book from almost all of them. Like it doesn't matter if I think I'd like their story or not. Like I'm like I gotta try it. You know what I mean? And so it's funny because the the I think this is where a lot of the self-publishers I think has a problem, um, especially when we talk about getting to the next step, which is a publisher. Is I'd say a good 95% don't see a problem with their books.
uh,
It's a big problem
uh,
because I'll straight up talk to them like, you know, kind of be honest with me. Like we're creators, we I want to share knowledge back and forth.
sure.
And most of them won't have that conversation. They won't. Like for I'll say even this for Warden's number two, there's a lot of things I could have did better. Lots of things. But when I'll talk to any publisher or self-publisher, and it's just like, oh, it's the best book. And I'll read it. I'm like, okay, are you just trying to sell me on this? Like, I've already bought the book. But the other thing is, and here's one thing no self-publisher will ever tell you. I'd say out of let's just say 100 self-publishers, about five of them actually want to read other self-publishing books. The others do not care.
Mm,
It is
mm,
a big pro, and here's how I know it. I've gone to cons now since 2017. I had a few books of Harrier and a few books of Warden number one at the time. And I've gone to cons since then. I've gone to fan expos. I've been to Cincinnati Comic Cons, quad cons that go around. I've gone all through the Midwest pretty much. I've been down to Texas. I've been down just everywhere. And I always grab books. It doesn't matter who it is, I got to go. But I'll notice because I watch around at cons. Nobody, none of the self publishers ever go around. Very little do they ever come back and want to check out what I have.
right, right.
And I'm like, because they'll engage me. They'll come up to me first, be like, "Hey man, I got this." I'm like, "Oh cool, another self publisher. Yeah, we'll do this." And they'll go back before the con starts, and during the con, I'll go over to their table. Hey, yeah, we talk, blah blah blah, and I'll buy one of their books, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll see you in a little bit, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, man, cool. Never hear from them again. And
Interesting.
it's a massive problem in self-publishing right now. Is that creators are not helping creators. No, I get it. Not everyone wants to. Not everybody has the money to. Not everybody, it can skip some people's mind. But it's a big issue that Indy's not, or I'll just say Indy isn't supporting Indy. So it's it's a growing problem.
Huh. I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from on that for sure. There are, and I think even on social, there are people who create books and sell books, but then 9 out of 10 times all they're talking about is Marvel and DC.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I think there are a few notable exceptions. My buddy Brian D. Covington, like he does a series, and he always props up other creators. He shows other books off. So like there's exceptions to the rule, but I would
Oh
say
yeah,
generally speaking, most people are promoting their own book,
yep.
and some people even outright say like, "Oh, I don't get other people's books because I don't want to be influenced or whatever." And I'm
That's
like,
a lot.
and I don't know, like I don't necessarily vibe with that because I'm a consumer. Like all of this behind me, this whole shelf is
Yeah,
all indie books. Like I
nice.
buy indie books. That's my thing. I am the indie hype man. Like that's
Hmm.
I go to conventions to find people that I haven't talked to yet because it's like
Yeah,
you're and it is this I always tell this story because like in 2020 I was like pretty confident in myself in like indie space. Like all right, I know some indie creators. Like I know what's going on. I've seen I know who's putting out books. And then it was COVID and we're all at home and I'm on Instagram 24/7. And I'm like coming across books that I've never heard of. I'm coming across books who are 12 issues in. And I'm like, how the
yep.
hell do I not know about this book 12 issues deep? How do I not, like 6 issues deep, 10 issues? I'm like, where the hell are these? Like, how did I not hear about these people? So then I'm sitting there, I was like, I thought I was in, I thought I knew. So I was like, all right, if I don't know, other people don't know. And that's where the magazine came from. Honestly, I was like, how do I sort of do the work and get like this in front of people? It's because they might not know, they might not have heard about this person, and that's where the magazine came from. Indie Catalyst is
Yeah.
the Catalyst magazine is sort of my favorite thing because I get to show off cool stuff that I find. like that's like my favorite thing to do in real life. And I'm like, yo, check this out. like that's kind of the whole bit is that's the whole magazine. It's just me being like, check this cool thing out. like
Oh yeah, there's even a book. Um, it came out in Kickstarter. Had to be 2018 or 2019. And I'll tell you this, it was the one of the best self-published books I've ever read.
Ooh,
It was called Whispering Wilds.
I
And
think I've heard of
so
that one.
I had book number one. I'm like, this, it was kind of like I Hate Fairyland, but
Okay.
with the design, but it was about a um, a person during World War II, I believe. They're in Australia, but they would go to like a different dimension.
Okay.
And it was weird during that time, but like the art, the story, everything was just done so right. And the problem was they really did I don't think they really got enough popularity to they're like, this ain't worth it. And I'm like, you have something here, man. You have something here.
So what? They
And
they backed out. They stopped doing it.
they stopped doing it. There was never a number
Oh, that's
two.
a damn shame.
And that's why, to me, it is important so much that self-publishers help self-publishers in any way they can, whether it's sharing with friends, sharing just on their socials, anything, because it gets it to one more eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that's like it means a lot to get eyes on books. Like I've done everything I can right now, um, recently to get Beats number 2 just everywhere, eyes everywhere. Like I've done ads on TikTok with the videos. I've done. I've actually had one of the people who did a cover. Her name's Mel Heflin. She was. I met her. I met her from somebody I was working with, and she's like, "Oh, I'd love to dress up as one of your characters and do a cover." I'm like, "All
Oh, I
right."
saw that video. That's a great video.
She did that. She did 2 videos. I haven't shown the other one yet, but she did the one. She was dressed up. She's like, you need to support, support it. This was a great opportunity. And it was cool because she asked, what would you love me to do for the video? And I was kind of like confused, like, I mean, I don't know. I've never marketed, but I was like, what would be really cool is if you say like, go check it out or something in sign language. So at the end of the video, she does sign language and has the subtitles to the side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
I was
why.
like, that was done so well.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great moment. That's yeah. It's coming up with like interesting ways. Anthony Anthony Stokes uh always always comes back into the conversation when I talk about indie comics and marketing because one of his staunch positions is that as an indie creator you have to be a marketer. You have to be a marketer. There's just no way around it. And because no one's going to do it for you. There's no built-in fan base. There's no realistically there's no like previews magazine where where it's just in front of people at a comic book shop. Like it's feet to the ground, like feet to the pavement kind of marketing where you got to do it all. And
Yeah.
I think that's just it's a tough pill to swallow, especially in the indie world, because like you already do so many other things. You're writing the book, you're coordinating the artist, you're coordinating the publishing, the shipping, all this stuff, and then you're like, crap, I gotta actually promote this thing now. So it's like this one more thing amongst a litany of things that you already have to do as an indie creator. So I get the pushback that people have on it. Like, I don't want to do one more fucking thing. It's just like I do so many things already, but
Oh, yeah.
there's just no way around it. Is you just have to be a marketer, and that's I wish there was easier ways. Like I love that global comics is getting bigger. I love that global comics is putting a bigger platform on indie comics because they're now in a position where they've got a little bit of money and they're sponsoring YouTube channels. So now
Yeah.
people who go see a comic Drake video and like comic Drake is pretty huge, like he gets a lot of views. Now they're like, oh, global comics, what's this about? And then they're gonna go on there and immediately global comics is like, here's some stuff you might like, and based on what you click on it's automatically doing the thing. And it's like, hey, I think I put in there was a code that I found because I'm trying to save some money.
Yeah.
So when I signed up, it was like I put in the code Invincible, and it was like another $10 off or whatever for the year for the annual.
Yeah.
And I go into like I just accidentally clicked into like the Discover page, and it was like, so you want to read Invincible, right? For the first thing, I was like, oh shit, all right. Like it just assumed that's why I was there,
Yeah.
and like that's a cool thing to have because like the algorithm they have is solid because now that it sees what I read, cause I've read a couple books on there, so now when
Yeah.
it sees other things that I read it's going to be like, hey, do you have these other things? And it's funny because that was my like original premise. My original premise before the magazine was I was going to
Yeah.
make the Steam of indie. Steam, like the gaming platform.
Yeah.
I was going to make the Steam of indie. It was going to be a desktop application. You were going to log in, and it was going to be music and indie games and indie comics, indie anything you could think of, anything that wasn't going through a traditional publisher. And it would be like, oh, you like listen to this music? We actually, because of that, we have to figure like you might like this comic, and if you like this
Yeah.
comic, oh, you might like this novel. Like it just like points you in all the ways to like get you to stuff you might enjoy. And but I literally sat down and I was like, that's going to take a lot of money and a lot
And
of people,
you
and I
need a
don't
team.
have either of those things. So that's why when 2020 hit and I was kind of at home and I was like, how do I help promote people? I like I'm like, all right, let me take this idea, this macro idea that I have, and like, how do I whittle it down to something I can do by myself right now? And that's where the magazine came from. So like the fact when Global Comics showed up, I was like, oh shit, this is the thing I was gonna do. I'm glad this exists. Because to me, I'm much rather like I would rather the thing exists and helps people now than the universe wait for me to get all the fucking ducks in a row so I could do it in 15 years. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah.
Like that could, in 15 years, like a Steam of Indie probably be a cool thing, sure. But like that does that mean for 15 years as indie creators who don't get to get their shine? That's stupid. Like I don't I'm a like I said, I'm a promoter of indie, so like the fact that Global Comics exists, I'm super excited for it. I want people to get to it. That's why I'm glad when people talk about it. Honestly, that's why when you said you only have the issue one on there. I think you should put everything on there. I think you should put them all on there. I know it's not a lot of money, but it's the way I see it is it's one more revenue stream. It's
Oh yeah.
just it's one more revenue, like it's one additional thing. It's not realistically it's not taking away from it. And you also have the option to because like that's like the streaming, like
Yeah.
if but like people can still buy the book through there. So like people still buy the digital
Well, because
copy.
originally the way it was set up is he only had streaming for my book, and I was like, might as well.
Right.
um, it was just getting nice. But the one thing that I loved um, when Comixology was at its peak was that you were included in new releases, and it wasn't like they were putting you at the bottom of the list. Everything was alphabetical order. So when I had, I think it was Harrier. I don't remember which issue. It was just Harrier. New releases Wednesday came out, and it would go down the list. And it was Harrier, and it was right next to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm,
And I was like, that that helps self-publishing so much that you can be right next to a Marvel title. That somebody can be scrolling through and go like, "Hey, that looks interesting."
right.
And I was so mad when they just dismantled pretty much everything. They gutted it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you were
Amazon
helping.
tends to do that.
And they put it all on Kindle and messed the whole system up. But I'm like, man, it was so good and you messed it up.
I'm
But
curious to see.
Comics has been um, I'm interested to see where they go for sure. Uh, and I would love for them to do like I said, what Comixology did, because I'm like, it would help self-publishers so much that if we're just sitting next to it on new releases, that more eyes get seen on products.
So they have, I just found this. They have a crowdfunding tab in the app. So for
Really?
for books that are actively crowdfunding.
And that's on global?
Yeah.
Hmm. I'll have to check that out.
There's like, I mean, the 245,
'Cause I think
there's like there's 25 books on the list right now.
interesting. Because I know, especially the Beats Kickstarter currently has, I think, 13 days to go. I might be off on my count.
11 as of today.
11. A
11
little
as of
under two
today. So this
weeks.
this this well, as of today when we're filming, as of today when you're watching or listening to this, it's gonna be seven. So 7 days left.
All
This is
right.
gonna be coming out on Thursday.
All
Um,
right.
but yeah, no, it's but you're
It's
already
already
funded.
funded.
Like it's
It's
already
already
funded.
funded.
So the book's coming out. You as a potential reader, you have zero risk. Zero risk. There will be no disappointing this campaign has been canceled or this campaign didn't meet its funding because it's already met its funding. So it's
Yeah.
getting done. So there's no risk, there's no disappointing email to be had. It's coming. So just get your
And
copy.
and with it being affordable, I mean,
Yeah,
it's as much as
I
it's
jumped
as
on
much as
there
the
and
Marvel title.
I was like, oh, the digital catch up was like it was $6. I was like, okay, sure. That's
Yep, that
I was
was
like,
not a
that's
mistake.
I was like, okay.
That was
So
not a
yeah, I mean,
mistake,
like
and yeah,
there's definitely something to be said. Like I've definitely been an outspoken person when it comes to the pricing of indie comics. I think in reality there is like it's like one of those graphs that meet, and at some point you're going to cross it, and it's not going to be it won't be worth the money to buy the book. And I think a lot of people are trying to push that bar as close as they can to that inflection point because they want to get the most money they can, obviously. Because look,
yeah,
realistically, like you're a writer, I'm a writer. I wrote a novella because art is expensive, so
yep,
I can't afford an artist right now. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna write a novella to try to build up a little bit of cash to pay an artist to write to draw the first comics. So like the comic script is done, and I've shown it to people, and they're excited about it. But I'm like, but I ain't got no money for an artist. Not
yeah.
like
It's a
the
good.
not the kind of money that people deserve. Like, and I'm a firm believer in paying artists what they deserve. So like
Oh, 100%.
I'm not out here complaining about the cost of artists. I'm complaining that I don't have the money. Like that's I need more money is the problem.
Yeah, because I have a good relationship with all the artists I have, colorists, all that. I work with them constantly, talk with them constantly. I never just disappear. Like I'm, no matter what I'm doing, even if I have to mark like, and here's this is the funny part, right? So I've talked to, I'm sure you know, T.S. Luther,
Yeah, yeah, of
Fishley,
course,
Uncle Fish.
of course.
Uh, uh, great people, by the way. Freaking awesome. But it's funny because they'll mark when their Kickstarter's going, you will see them on TikTok, Facebook, every second of every day.
Of course.
But the moment the Kickstarter ends, they're gone.
A
They
lot.
are gone.
Well, I, I will asterisk that because prior to Green Zone 1, Fish was on there. Fish was putting out work on Kickstarter or on
Oh,
TikTok.
100%.
Fish was putting out TikTok work. He was showing off stuff. He was promoting other books that he was a part of. So then when
Oh,
it came
yeah.
time to do his stuff, then it was like churn content, churn
Oh, yeah.
content. And then yeah, of course, it takes some time off, but like he built up a base. He built up a base because he was sharing a lot of art art tips, and he was sharing a lot of just indie comic stuff. Like he was sharing a lot of information with people, and so people watched his stuff. So he built a following, so that when he started doing stuff again for his book, and every time he does, people see it because it's the same for me. Like the algorithm, I don't know why, but I don't know if he's doing any content right now because there's no green zone on Kickstarter.
He just finished I think he just finished his campaign for Alice 2. I think he just did that. But I've talked to him
Yeah,
when he's not even marketing,
yeah,
but he is one of the hardest working people I've ever seen in self-publishing.
yeah.
And and I mean that. He is nonstop working every day.
He's
He's either
hustling, man,
drawing, he's doing something.
and he's
And I'm
quick
like,
too.
man,
He did a cover.
hmm
He did the issue 10 homage cover. See, I told you I like an homage. He did the
yeah.
issue 10 homage cover of Catalyst, and he turned that shit around in like a day. And I was just like, okay, sir. Like, what? Like I wasn't ready for this speed. Like
Oh yeah.
it was just done. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I was really excited about that one. That was a great moment.
But
I really want
It's
to. Go ahead.
sorry. Um, but I was getting back to where you gotta have a good relationship with a lot of artists, writers, doesn't matter who, just try to have a good relationship because that's why some of these projects, like I have it aimed for beats for October, and it can seem like a long way, but for somebody who's self-publishing, that's still a very small thing because I'm basically it goes from oh yeah, June 21st, I think right now. So by the time it ends, we're already in July. So that gives me about 2 to 3 months, not only to finish everything in the book, but get it in the stores and shipped out by October.
Right.
That's a lot for self-publishers, but if you have a good understanding with your artists and writers and everything else, it can be done pretty good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the the talent out there is huge. There's a lot
Mhm.
of indie talent. There's a lot of great artists. There's a lot of great writers like yourself. Like I think there's just a lot of entertainment to be had in the indie space. And the fact that it's growing as much as it is really really exciting for me because like I'm reaching a point. You can see I've got a little bit of space
Yeah.
there. The bottom shelves are filled. I got a little bit of space there. I am now going to have to start making decisions about the indie section. And I don't know how comfortable I am with that. Like, I'm
That's
gonna have to start going through and like really being like, is this a favorite? Is this like a I want to hold on to this and read it again in 2 years? Like, it's really because there's a lot of indie books, there's a lot of indie creators, and I love seeing it. Honestly, I love seeing it. Like,
Did you is this in your wall?
so I only collect trades
This
physically.
is a trade.
You have a oh, you do have a Harrier trade.
I do have a Harrier
I
trade.
hold on. I tried buying that at some point. Why didn't they? Hold on.
Did it
Let
not
me
go
let me
through?
check. Let me check. Let me check. I don't
Better
know.
didn't.
I genuinely probably know offhand 3% what's behind me. Like I gotta look at the app. No, no, it's not on the list. It's
Ah,
not on the list. All right. We'll have to jump on that. Is it in the
that
campaign? Is it part of the campaign?
it's
Can
in
you add?
there.
All right.
All of
I guess
Universe Prime that we call it
I
is
will
in
have
there.
to. I will
Every
have
bit
to
of it.
modify my pledge. Then I will have to modify my pledge.
And it is only
That's right, because I
it's
missed the
only 20.
campaign. I missed the campaign. And maybe there was an issue with the site because I remember being on the site. There was some issue. There was some issue because I remember being on the site, putting it in the cart.
Yeah,
I just don't
because
remember what happened.
yeah, we put everything that is in this universe as an add-on in Beats Kickstarter. So that way people who maybe already like Beats are like, "Hey, I want to go check out the rest of the universe here."
Absolutely.
We've made it the same, trying to think if we've made it cheaper. We might have made it like $4 for a physical copy. I don't exactly remember off the top of my head. It's either 4 or 5. But the trade is 20. I try to make it as affordable without going crazy. So
How many issues is the trade?
5.
5 issues. Okay. So
So technically you're saving $5 and it's a better quality than a regular book. So
all right, it's well, that's the thing is like I've seen there's like I said, I'm very particular about like pricing in the indie space. I think you can price your audience out very quickly.
yeah.
Um, like there's an indie publisher that I am tap dancing around supporting. Honestly, being 100% honest, I'm not
Yep.
going to say their name because I'm not trying to call anybody out, but like the price point is so high that I'm like because it's a standard trade, and I'm like a standard trade for $50 is bananas. Like
Now,
I
when you say standard, is that 5 issues?
I think it is 5, but even at 6 issues, 50 is
Oh,
insane.
that's ridiculous.
Like, and I'm
That's
like, I
that's
was
high.
the first time I saw it, I was like, ah, that's a lot, right? So then that was like their first run, and then they did another run. It was like 40, and I was like, better, but like still kind of a lot for a standard trade. 40 for a hardcover, I wouldn't have even blinked. I would have bought it before the video finished. Like
Yeah.
before the promo finished, I would have been like, buy. This looks dope.
Yep.
40 for a hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I've been in that position. Like I've seen stuff where it's like, oh, it's 25 for the paperback, 35 for the hardcover. I'm like, obviously I'm gonna go for the hardcover. Like it's just like it's right there. Like why would I not? But it's like,
Yeah.
and if it's like for me, a standard trade like 120-ish pages, $30. That's the most. Like that's the 30 is like the my cutoff point for like, wait, now I have to consider this. Now I have to think about this.
Yeah, because a standard trade, well, the ones here, for per issue we did 20 to 22 pages. Um, so give or take, you got 100 and I'll say 110 pages for
Yeah.
a trade, and I'm like, and printing all that. Um, overall, I'm like, 20 bucks is nice, and if I do want to discount it, I can to 15, and I'd still be doing good enough.
Right.
And that's what I've done at cons sometimes. Like I've had people who are just like, I want everything at your table. I'm like, okay, give me a second because I'm going to give you a percentage off because that's
Yeah.
massive in the self-publishing world. Like it doesn't happen a lot, but I've had
Right.
it happen where somebody's like, I want everything. I'm like, hold on, slow down.
Right. Right.
You caught me off guard. But
Was
usually and I don't think a lot of self-publishers, honestly, and I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong on this, but I don't think a lot of them discount for people who really like buy a lot of stuff at their table. They'll just full price, here you go. And I get it, but I'm like, if somebody supports you that much, like make their day a little more.
yeah.
Especially if they're going to a con to see you, they're already paying the entrance
They
fee.
exactly. They're paying to come in. They've already spent money just to be here.
Hmm. And they saw you of all people
Yeah.
and decided to buy what you have. And I'm like, that's to me, that's means a whole lot. I'm like, I don't care. Like I'm making a profit. Um, I don't count table. Like, here's the thing. A lot of people are like, I need to make table cost and above that and this. I'm like, I'm not here to break table cost. I'm here to build connections to new readers. If I can't do that, I'm failing.
Mark. That's the thing is there. I get both aspects of it for sure.
Yeah.
I get the table cost idea because like obviously it's costing you money to get there. Like somebody showing up to C2E2, for instance, from my buddy TJ. He came out of I think he's in LA, so he came from LA to C2E2 to Chicago. So he's got plane
A
tickets,
lot.
he's got hotel costs, he's got table costs, right? That's a lot of money to spend to potentially what not make table is crazy. So like he's got to be hustling, he's got to be getting his books out there.
Yeah.
My buddy Neil Gibson, he's uh, uh, what is it called? Oh my god, he changed the name of his company. So
Panic.
Twisted Comics, Twisted
Oh,
Comics. So he's
okay.
got Twisted Dark, and he's got the Theory, which is the kind of the sci-fi version, and it's essentially like he's also doing the Black Mirror like official comic book. Like he went to them and he's
Okay.
doing the official adaptation, which is crazy because like he started by just doing like a horror anthology kind of series, and that's
Yeah.
where it started. Now he's got a bunch of other books that he's put out. Now he's got multiple titles. He's got I think 9 volumes of Twisted Dark, and it's a fantastic series if you like horror, uh, more so thriller. I wouldn't even say horror. I would say thriller. But
Okay.
it's almost like like an Outer Limits kind of what is, oh my god, I'm so terrible with like the names of things. Uh Twilight Zone, like a Twilight Zone kind of thing, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like it ends and you're like, wait, what? Like you're like it messes with you. Like there's some sort of twist, to the story. And I love it. The way he markets it, he's got an active challenge. He's like, read the first two chapters. They're like like 4-page stories, two, 3-page, 4-page stories. And he's like, read the first two stories and tell me you still don't want it. Like tell me it doesn't hook you. And
Yeah.
he literally has like a tally board at the table of how many people said yes and how many people said no, and it's always just like overwhelming yes. You might get like 2 or 3 no's in a whole show,
Yeah.
because I mean the stuff is in the quality of the book is great, right? But like the marketing of it is, he's always hustling, but he comes from England. He's got to show up here. Now granted, he does publishing, I think in Canada, so he's got like a local stockpile, so he's not always bringing tons of books from overseas, but like an overseas ticket just to show up here is a lot of money. So
Oh yeah.
like he's got to pay for that, obviously the table costs and all that stuff, but like it's a lot of uh there's a lot of costs associated, and this obviously, of
Yeah.
being at a show, just being there. Not even the printing costs, not even the like printing a banner. If you've got like a tablecloth that's got your logo on it, that's another cost. Everything adds up. I mean, like the stickers, everything costs money.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people don't think about that. They don't recognize that. They see like, oh, well, you got free. Like, are these stickers free? Or like, and it's like, I mean, they're free with a book. Like then you can kind of like make that deal because like I'm selling them for $2 because they cost me $1 to make. Like in your head, you're like, I need to sell these stickers because they can't be free because they cost me money to make. It's like
That,
it, you gotta make your money back somehow. So it's like people don't take all that into account, like when they see stuff at shows. My like most frustrating thing at a show is to see somebody walk by and not even look. Like I spend most of my time at like a C2E2 or a fan expo at Artist Alley, so I'm observing Artist Alley behaviors heavily, and I hate seeing people just like and just keep walking.
all the time.
And my mental is
All the
like, why are
time.
you even over here? Because you don't have an intent to buy over here. So why are you taking up space? There's some of us who would love to have this conversation, but there's 15 of you who are not buying anything, and you're walking by. I'm trying to have a conversation with this creator.
Yeah.
Like it's very frustrating, and I've tabled at shows, and just like me, like, hey, how you doing? Let me tell you.
And
No, okay.
they don't even, they'll
Eh,
just
eh.
walk on by.
Can I tell you about that? No, okay, cool. Like it's frustrating because like you took the time, you took your day, you spent all this energy, all this money, and just like to not have people give you the time of day, So like that's why I think online marketing is almost more important than shows.
It is.
There's a ton of people that don't do shows, but they do so much online marketing that like you can't help but know who they are. You can't help but know that they exist. Like most of the people that I'm friends with now in the indie space, I met online. I didn't meet them at
Hmm.
shows. Some I did meet at shows, but for the most part, overwhelmingly, it's been online. I come across a TikTok, I come across an Instagram post, and it's like, oh, this is dope, But also, you're like, as a consumer, your behavior online has to align with what you're looking for, right? If you do, as a reader, want to find more indie stuff, you got to be exploring indie stuff. You
Yep.
got, maybe don't be looking at X-Men posts. You're not going to get a lot of indie stuff looking at X-Men. I
No.
love X-Men. I'm an X-Men diehard. The whole bottom shelf here is all X-Men. Like I love X-Men.
The
But I
simple thing
know
is,
that
if you
I'm not
love
finding
indie,
indie over here.
if you love indie, go to your local show. they're every they're I shouldn't say they're everywhere. There's
At
going
almost
to
every
be
single show there's going to be.
at least three indie writers at any show that's local to you.
Guaranteed.
It is gonna
Guaranteed.
happen.
I
Guaranteed.
drove 2 hours yesterday to Indiana. It was Crusader Con. Small show, nothing, like really nothing to write home about, right?
Yeah.
And I've done this heavily. Like I'm deep in this for years, over a decade now. I still, to this day, find people I've never seen before. There were there were two creators, two tables that I've seen before that I know, and then uh I saw this one new one, and the pitch was great. It was actually I got it right here. um, the pitch was dope. This is the book, and it's like it was a great pitch, and I was like, yeah, let me get that, and let me get the because he's got like a lookbook for his new series that's coming out, and it was like
Yeah.
just like that. Like I didn't need the hard set. He was like surprised. Like you said, because most people don't grab everything. And I was like, oh yeah, how much is this lookbook? I was like, yeah, that. And I'm like, I'll take this hardcover. Because I'm like, you already have you have a trade, you have a collected edition, and it's a hardcover. Yeah, I don't even care. Give it. Give it.
The trade is the hardest part for any self-publisher to get to,
That's why I
because you at
love seeing
least
the
you
trade.
minimum have to get to 5 issues.
Yep.
And for if you're not doing the art, if you're not doing any of that, that's a whole other cost. That's most people don't know. Base for a book is about $3,000 per issue, and that's just a basic like 22 page book.
Yeah.
That's not anything higher, and that is it's a lot. So get if you see a trade, it's a big deal.
It took a long time. It took a lot of money to get there.
Hmm.
And that's the like a trade is really the first time you could talk about profit
Hmm.
because you already paid for all that art at that point.
Yep.
That's the first time as an indie creator, a trade is the first time you can talk about profit. So
Yep.
let's just say, like you said, so this book is taking you what 5 months to make, roughly.
Oh, what do you mean? Just an
Beats
issue?
two, yeah, beats two, like about 5 months.
About it's going to take about 3 months. We already have 3 pages done. No,
Okay,
4 pages done. All the covers are done, except for the
but
variants.
in total, I mean, like from when you first write it to when it's ready to publish.
Uh, writing to all the art done,
Yeah,
give or take, give or take, yeah, about five.
so 5 months. You got to do that 5 times. So that's over 2 years of work just to get to have a conversation about profit. Because at that
Yeah,
point, you're not making, there's not a ton of profit
no,
in singles. There's just not. And for like, you're at, for those 25 months, you're doing it for the love of the game.
yeah,
You just are. There's just, until you break even on a print run, because a print run, you have minimums, you have to buy a certain amount of books, and that costs money. And then the art costs money. There's all sorts of costs that I think just the general consumer does not consider all the costs involved in a comic book. The reason Marvel can still put out books at $4.99, $3.99 a piece is because they buy 5,000 copies of a book, 10,000
yep.
copies of a book, but they also buy 35 books worth of 3,000 copies. And that's
If their
all
books,
a bundle for
yeah,
them. For them, that's all a volume bundle. So now they're buying 150,000 prints, and their printer is giving them the bare bottom cost
yep,
because they're buying 150,000 books. And
yeah.
no indie creator is buying 150,000 books. So your print
No,
cost
no,
is
no.
way higher because you're only buying 1,000, 2,000 copies at a time. Like, I got to give it up to Danny J. Quick. I always talk about him in indie conversations. Ace Blade, like he's doing reprints regularly. He's doing new print runs regularly because he's maintaining sales. So
Oh yeah,
he's just like, all right, I'm gonna take a little bit of money and we're put that towards the next print run. And then he's like, well, we sold out of issue 2, but the issue 3 is almost there, like da da da. Like there's always something where it's like, all right, cool, now we've got a new print run, we've got a new box. And it's like he's only buying 500 copies because that's your profit. Like that's the money you have from the book. You can only
Yeah,
buy so many books. So like,
there's only about three, I will say, TikTok creators that I really like. I'm always like, how the hell do you do it? And it's Danny Quick, Impound, and even King Lion. If people don't know as much, he doesn't do it as much, but he shows it. He's doing Flame with his wife,
yeah,
and I'm like,
he's got a couple
man,
books now. He's doing another book. He's doing another series. There, he's also doing it. I mean, obviously, he's doing it with his wife. So like the art and
yeah,
like all the talent is in house. So
yeah.
there's
But
no external costs. But
but but doing that, it's so much time that I'm like,
it's a lot of
how
time.
do you have time, man? How do you sleep? Like,
Yeah, and I gotta give him props. He gets a lot of flack for like his opinions and his takes and stuff on
yeah,
mainstream stuff, but like you got to give it up to the young man. He's putting in work. He's hustling out here. Like he's caching books so that he can put out a full run, so that he can put out a ton of material at a time. Like they're putting out. I think he said. I want to say he said 15 of the verses. I think it's called the new series.
yeah,
They're putting out 15 books of verses. When he launches verses, he's putting out 15 books.
yeah.
Like you got
Everything
to
is
give him
insane.
props. Like you got to
Oh,
give him props
100%.
at that
Like
point.
that's why I was like, man, all these guys, it is absolutely insane that you can write or do the art at the same time, market, just everything about that. It's like, how do you sleep and still sell that many books? Because what I think Lion said at one point, I think Flame sold like 40,000 copies altogether. And I'm like, how? How did you do like I can't get people to buy online. Like I push and push and push, and I'm like, I can't get one, but you got 40,000, man.
I what I would recommend to you, I was actually thinking about this before we got on the pod. I was
Yeah.
actually thinking there's a bunch of creators that do sign language. Uh I think it would be dope. Like you just hit them up and say, "Hey, let me send you this PDF. Just let me know what you think," and that's it.
I've done that.
No
The only
expectations, no
person
nothing.
I've the only person I've marketed with was because I talked to one of the creators, and I'm like, man, I need just one of you guys that really talk about comics, get the comics audience, just to say something. Was Comics Dad, and I we talked, and I actually paid him for a little sponsorship. I was like, hey, here's the book, you know, just just do a video of just what you think. That's all I
Yeah,
ask. Just I'm not asking for a oh, this book is the most amazing thing ever. I'm like, no, I want real reaction. I don't want fake. I understand that can sell books, but I'm like, I'm not like that. I'm not built like that. I want people's real reaction to the book.
right.
So that's the only time I've really reached out to one of them. I've actually read, I think of all the books that they've come out with, I've only read up to Ace Blade 5, I think. I had it all digital, so
I bought the trade a long time ago, and I think that's the most I've read is the trade. So the
okay.
first 4 issues. I don't think I read 5 yet. But
But
like
yeah,
I'm always on
they're one of the
board on
tops,
that.
man.
I
They
can't wait for that next trade. Like
they yeah, they're one of the top self-publishers in my opinion. Just the way they can market themselves, sell their books. Now, I don't know the content, like how good it is, so I can't speak from that because I've never really like Ace Blade up to this point. like I said, I've only read the five, so I can't say, you know,
Right.
but as a standpoint of how good it is, but the work they put in is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the on a marketing level, you can't mess with it. I always like do using Danny as an example because he does like different stuff. He does little skits. He does interesting stuff to promote the books as opposed to just like, hey, here's what the book is about, right? And it's I always like to see people explore the marketing of their product because I think the more you explore the marketing of the thing you have, the more you get to the more comfortable you get pitching it, right? Because like there's certain stuff like my comic, man, I'm still working on my pitch. I'm still working on my pitch because
It's so hard.
every time I really want to just tell you the whole thing. I just want to tell you like all the ins and outs and all the how things work. And I'm like, I can't do that. That's I'm not selling nothing that if I'm just telling everybody the story. B, it's too much. It's hard to sell something when you got a 5 minute speech before you can sell them that. Like
I'll,
that's why I've whittled it down. I've whittled it down to I think a good a good tagline, and I
yeah.
think that's important. So like in my universe, there are no good people. It's bad people versus worse people. It's mercenaries versus a completely amoral mercenaries. That's what the book is about, and then everything else around that is like the story of that universe.
Yeah, so the thing about like when when I am at cons, I have one of my buddies, he's my pitch man. Like he is the one talking about all the books. He is the one that just he has it's repetitive in his head. Um Sometimes I do take over and but the thing I've learned is don't entirely be scared to do like throw small spoilers because it does get people more involved in the book.
Right.
Like if I said, "Oh, Harrier," yeah, I could say, police detective that has a battle suit goes, she's going to fight, super villains that are in the city that police can't take care of. That's a good pitch. But if I say, you know, oh, she's going up against, in the first issue goes up against this guy that's like freaking Bane and they slug it out and he does all this thing. Well, now somebody's like, wait, what? She does what? She goes against what? And that gets people a little more like involved in the book, wanting to see
For sure.
it. Like it's one of those things where you can't be scared to throw a spoiler or two. You don't have to spoil the whole book, but um, throwing that in there gets people like, I need to see that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
and I did want to go back to the Comic Con table prices and stuff like that for a second. Um, is so most cons now are about any I would say most 3 day cons. Table cost is now like base 300.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gotten a little high there. But that's not including hotel, food, travel, such. Like I'm going to GalaxyCon in October in St. Louis. It's the first one in St. Louis, so I'm excited for that. Um, but and here's the thing: I live in St. Louis, but I got a hotel because the hours are absolutely insane. That I'm like, I'm not driving back and forth. I might live like 40 minutes that 30, 40 minutes that way. I'm not doing it. I'm
Right.
not going back and forth because the hours go from like 8 o'clock and then you got to be back here at 9. It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not, it's too much. I'm not doing it. Um, so I got a hotel.
Right.
My thing with table cost for a con is go to a con you're going to enjoy. Go as a con goer. Yes, you have your business that you need to take care of, but a con is a few different things. It's marketing, it's enjoyment, it's a con experience.
Right.
And like, I'll say this: when we first met at It was Wizard World Chicago.
It was.
I and I will say this.
Look at Wizard World.
I love that venue. I love everything about it. The con itself has always been fun, especially the fairgrounds back there behind the hotels. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it was my worst show I've ever had.
Woof.
I did of the it was because that's a 4 day con. I did
I think
$48
they finally
in
changed it. I'm sorry, how many dollars?
40. $40 in sales in total for all 4 days.
What?
It can be brutal.
40 is
And I
crazy.
and that's again
That's not even
300
dinner money.
300 for the table, another close to 1,000 for the hotel. And then you're including food and travel.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed last year because Fan Expo is like what replaced Wizard World. And
Mm,
last year's Fan Expo, no, not last year's because I didn't go last year. The year before's Fan Expo, terrible. Terrible for Artist Alley. People did not make any money. Uh it was brutal. I think the only person that did make money, and that's just because he is just the hustler of all hustlers, and that's Henri Compon. He's hustling out here. He's in front of his table the whole show. He brings like a one of those standing mats. That man does not
yeah.
leave the front of
I'm
his
trying to think
table.
if I met him or not.
His
Because it's
most recent book is War Lion.
yes, I did. I met him at Cincinnati,
He's ridiculous.
and
He's ridiculous.
oh,
I
he's
love that
the
dude.
only thing I'll say is so there's I'm sure you know it since you've been at Artist Alley where there's con etiquette for a lot of Artist Alley. Like you don't, there's certain things you don't do. Um, like you don't if you don't talk to like a customer that's at somebody else's table or kind of poach. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But he gets so much involved that he's over in the middle, like grabbing, almost grabbing people and pulling them over. I'm like, whoa, hold on, you're going a little far there, but like but the thing is, he's not in Artist Alley. He goes in the vendor's aisle. He doesn't sit in Artist. I'm like, hey, free game, man. Like, you're not in Artist Alley. I can't say anything, but
Right.
like, no, I actually bought War Lion because I was in the like the tip of Artist Alley there, and he was in the vendor's alley that was like right next door. So I'm
Gotcha.
like, I'll go see what he's got, and I ended up getting War Lion. Um, I still haven't read it. I've got a
I've
pile
got
of
the first
comics.
two
I gotta get
volumes
through.
of Yisun Shin. Love them. I can't wait for volume three of Yisun Shin. And then his book Max is really, really powerful, really strong. Like it's a great book.
But
It's based on his grandfather's like time in World War II and shit. Like it's a great series.
I gotta see if I got it. So the last con that we had, let me see if my buddy, I got a box next to me here. So the last con we were at was, it was a new con here called Two Rivers Comic Con, and it was the first time for St. Louis that we had a real Comic Con. Like I'm not talking Wizard World or Fan Expo. I'm talking a real Comic Con with comic creators. And we had Mark Bagley, David Michelini, bunch of different artists. It was a real
Okay.
Comic Con.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
Shit, I'm sorry I missed that.
oh, it was like I got my Carnage there, but I had an extra copy, got them signed. Oh, they were awesome to
Have you
meet.
ever done Mighty Con down there?
I have. And I will sort of say this. It's no, it's an ownership problem. I can't like I've gone and done a table at it was after COVID. They had a con, and the problem is most of the people who are like bought a table already were busy or gone, and they didn't fill those spots. So it was an artist alley with basically like three of us.
Oh, interesting.
And then
Interesting.
they moved it to Collinsville, and it's been great. It's yeah, yeah.
Interesting. I
Um,
haven't been down there in a while. I think the one I went to was 2017. That's when we went to St. Louis and we did the St. Louis show. Uh,
yeah,
I met David Yost there. It was a pretty packed show then. So like, um, obviously that was pre-COVID, but like,
yeah.
and
But
now
Two
and the
Rivers is
ownership
coming
now
back
is
though.
different. The
Two
ownership now
Rivers
is
is coming back
different.
though next year.
Okay.
It's going to
Okay.
be on Mother's Day weekend.
Okay.
But they will be back, so we'll probably be back there. But no, we like the first day we did about $40 in sales, $60 in sales. It was decent for Friday. Saturday, we did really well with about $100 in sales. But my buddy, he always has this energy. He's awesome with it, by the way. He don't care what it, like. He won't say anything offensive, but he gets people's attention.
That's what's up.
And I'm like, we need to get that energy in the right direction here, right? So I was thinking about it, like, how do we get people's attention? We need a big sign. So I literally made a sign that says, "You looked, come on over."
That's what's up. That's and look,
And it
for
worked.
of
It
course it
worked.
worked.
People would laugh.
Of course it worked because you have to have something engaging. I mean, there's a group out of Chicago called Unshaving Comics. I for years would they the first time I saw them, there was the dude standing out there with a big like a word balloon that said, "Let me tell
Yeah.
you about my comic." And I was like, "All right, tell me about the comic." They pitch it. I was like, "All right, do you have a trade?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "All right, talk to me when you have a trade." And then like our running gag for years was I would see him. He was like, "Can I tell you about my comic?" I'm like, "Do you have a trade?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "I'll come back next time." And then we did that for years. And then I was like, "Do you have a trade?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, let's talk." Like, so like
Yeah.
it just became like a running gag because yeah, you got to have something to draw the eye because like there's I think there's also like a group of not a group but like a category of creators that are sort of like not energetic when it comes to their own work. Like they're sitting there, they're not doing anything. They're waiting for people to come
Yeah.
up. And I'm like, nah, you gotta bring people in. Like you gotta have something to pull people's eyes because there's limited monies and there's limited people, right? There's only so
Yeah.
many people that are coming to the show. There's only so many people of those that are going to buy indie comic or could be persuaded to buy an indie comic. So like you really gotta hustle. So you gotta get people to your table. You gotta get people over. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
bought a book at C2E2. The cover legitimately. I looked at it and I saw it there, but the cover was like pixelated. Like it was
Hmm.
clearly the wrong size image was sent as the cover. Like very clearly. The inside was
Yeah.
not, but the cover was. And I was like, all right, tell me about the thing. That's all he had. He had that and like four stickers. Like that's all he had left. And he's like, all right, he's like, I've got volume two. He's like, but I sold out. I'm like, hey, that's a good problem to have, man.
Oh yeah. I
Like you
I
sold.
just sold out
That
the
means
first
one. That,
time.
that means that means volume one and volume two were so enticing. People bought both, and you just happen to have more volume ones, which like you would think you'd sell more volume ones because people are jumping in. So that means you
Yeah.
sold pairs. Like you got a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But he's like sitting there, just like that's all I got left. Like kind of just like like so, and just like the lack of stuff. I was like, there's not a lot going on here, but he's still like standing there pitching his stuff. So, but I
Yeah.
picked it up.
So the Galaxy or not GalaxyCon, the Two Rivers was the first time ever, and I'm talking since 2017 that I've ever sold out of a book. And I'm like, did I just like we were so shocked because like I always just had it next to me, like, oh, somebody buys this, okay. And I go digging through the box and everything, and I'm like, I'm looking, going, uh, it's empty. Like, luckily, I had some variants that I'm like, it's the same price. Like, it's the same book, just different cover. you know, and so most people didn't care. They just bought. I ran out of the regular issues of Beats One, and I was like, it's gone.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And that's you got. I mean, like I think having that kind of mentality, that's why I give honorary props because he's like, I'm bringing this many books with me, and I don't want to bring them home. So he's out there trying to sell every copy he's got. Like I see him. I love his approach because he'll grab the whole stack of like 12 issues of Yisun Shin and put it in somebody's hands, and I'm like, damn.
That's
That's
aggressive.
that's cold. But
That's
like then they're like,
aggressive.
all right, what's up? Like then they're like, it's in hand because as soon as you put something in somebody's hand, it gets them there. It gets them to think about it. Ownership. So it's like let's look at old school, marketing trick. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
but it's just like I think there's just like there's an opportunity for I think for people to come up with more interesting ways to sell their stuff. Obviously, if you have like dope art, the character design is amazing. You could just like slap it on a big banner and people are gonna walk up to the table because like that's like the initial pitch, right? Especially if you're an indie creator,
Yeah.
there is I think a broad perception that like maybe the art's not as good or something, something of it is not as good as mainstream. So if you
Yeah.
have like dope art or at least a dope cover, like top, I to me honestly, I think, as much as I'm a promoter of indie creators, I think everybody should have a cover done by Fish Lee. I think everybody should have a cover done by Fish Lee just to be able to put it on a banner because it's clean, it's high quality. The characters always look good. They're always like powerful poses. I've never seen Fish Lee produce a bad piece of art.
Oh,
And I
never.
think I think I think everybody needs to have officially cover just for that. Like if his style matches your book even the slightest, I think you gotta have like I would love to see a Beats cover by Fish Lee. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? Beats number 3 with a Fish Lee
Just
variant.
it's out there.
It's in the
We'll
universe
we're
now. I'm
gonna
just saying. Or even hey, listen, you
maybe
got
when
11
Beats Three
days.
comes around.
You got
Maybe when
11
Beats
days.
Three
You might
comes
be able to
around.
knock out a variant for this issue too.
Sadly, I mean, I already have all my variants for Beats Two, but Beats Three is wide open.
There you go.
So it's
There you go.
highly possible. Like I've worked with so many different artists though that I'm like, I talk to them like, you want to do a cover? I like your style, and this variant kind of works with what you got. I'd have to look at a lot of Fish's covers. Like I read the series I've read. I haven't got to the Alice one yet. I have it somewhere. But I read his
Green zone.
no, it was I'm blanking on the name. It's the one like he's like a hawk with armor.
Oh, call.
Caw.
Caw.
Yes, I've read that one,
I love the
and
name.
I just love how brutal it is without like really going full brutal. I'm like,
Right.
he's doing crazy things, and I'm like, but it's PG, but he's doing crazy
Right.
things.
Right. You should
But
also talk to my guy Hamza. He's I think his style would also work for beats.
yeah, I know he's mostly busy right now on Golden Compass.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still
He's
finishing that up.
he's trying, man.
He's he's
Because
he's
I
pushing.
think because it wasn't the date supposed to be December last year, or was
Uh
it? Or is it December this year?
Delivery, I think it's December this year. I think that's currently the
Okay,
expected date.
yeah, because he's doing like a huge book, so that's why I'm like, yeah, it's
He's
gonna
yeah,
take a lot
this
of time.
I forget how many pages this initial book is. But
It's
so like
it's pretty massive.
originally, so the original pitch, which did not succeed on Kickstarter, was for a because this I'm giving a little inside baseball here.
Yeah.
This is originally this was meant to be three like 240-page graphic novels.
Hmm.
So this was meant to be like three massive graphic novels, and now each one has essentially been split up into like three sections. So there's gonna be three for the first arc, if you will.
Yeah.
3 for the second arc, and 3 for the third arc. So yeah, I think it's there's gonna be he's got a lot of work ahead of him. He's got a lot of work ahead of him for sure. But
Because we've talked most, and what's funny is it started at this point where we
Crystal
hired
Compass,
mark
Crystal Compass.
we hired marketing for our books on Kickstarter. Both of us did. We got the same marketer,
Oh, okay, so then I
and
know the backstory of that.
he told you already.
Yeah, I know about them from a couple different people.
Yeah,
And I literally, so
Beats
fun
one was
fact.
the
Oh, last year at C2E2, I walk up to a table. Um, I forget which independent publisher it was, and he's like chatting it up with this dude, da 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 da, and like the guy's like clearly pitching him promotional services for Kickstarters, and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then like he hands him the business card and or like a sheet or whatever, and I
yeah.
see the logo, and as soon as he leaves, I'm like, yo, look, I'm just gonna tell you right now, like this is fresh information for me, but like, don't do that. don't
Oh yeah,
don't do that.
you're gonna get screwed. Don't do it, man.
Oh
Like
my god, dude.
it hurts so bad. And you know what's crazy is that um and I don't know what was going on. Like I tried so hard to figure out like what was going on with this promoter. Like I'm like, okay, you said you talked to me and told me these things, but these things aren't happening. And we're like 3 months behind now. And it was a giant mess. But what's funny and I don't understand is that Beats did Beats One did over $2,000 in sales on Kickstarter. But ever since then it's gone. Like what happened? Like what did they do to push it that far? But they don't want to tell me.
Oh, so they did. So they did. It worked for you for Beats One. They were on Beats One.
Again, I don't know if it was just lucky on Kickstarter or did they do something because I
I
was
see.
not notified what they were doing. I
Yeah, and that immediately right there, as soon as you don't like, oh, if they're not telling you what the technique is, like that's because that's the thing is, when I talked to Hamza, he was saying like, oh, they were supposed to be doing social media shares, but like they never shared
mhm.
it, and
Nope.
they like ended up sharing it in like like a small group
It's
essentially, and
Facebook groups.
yeah, it's just
It's
like
Facebook
Facebook, and I
groups.
was like, that's
That's
dumb.
not ads. That's not
That's yeah,
ads.
those aren't ads. Like this dumb. Um,
And
yeah,
and that's
I'll do
and
that
I
shit for
didn't.
free. Just tell me to do that. I'll do that shit for free. Like,
Oh, there's
like
another guy that does it. Child's Play Comics. Uh,
I don't know that one. See,
J-
again, I don't know that
I
one.
can't remember his name. You would know his. He's kind of everywhere too. Um, I'd probably say he's doing a teen something book. I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. Um, but he does a lot of different small comics. But when it comes to promoting different books, he's everywhere on it. Like he will promote to 20 different groups. Just out of his way, just do it.
That's what's up. That's how it should be.
I'm like, man, like, and I bought one of the titles that I was actually, because he gave me, or no, I bought one of his Kickstarters. It was kind of like a preview of all the books he was gonna push out. And I was like, man, I like this one that he's got. And I actually did get that one. But yeah, he promotes basically everything. Like he'll go to a group and promote 20 different books. And I'm like, man, how do you have time? But yeah, I definitely need to talk to Fish about getting a cover though. For probably Beats 3. I do know he loves Beats. He was one of the first uh, people that like really got involved with it and wanted to fund it. And as soon as he got it and read it, he had to make a post right away on TikTok, like, "Look at this! Look at this!" I'm like, and he did it out of nowhere. He didn't tell me. All of a sudden, I'm looking through TikTok, and all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh,
That's what's up. That's what's up. You have good product when people independently promote your work, and that's just it is what it is. Like when people either they come to you and say, "Hey, I want to talk about your book," or whatever. Like when that's when you have good product. That's just is what it
oh
is.
yeah,
Like that's like myself. I'm not gonna sit down for 2 hours with somebody who doesn't make good shit. Like that's just me. Like I'm gonna have a chit chat with somebody who I respect their work. I like their work. Like that's the people I want to talk to because
oh
there's
yeah,
tons of creators. There's an overwhelming amount of creators, but
oh yeah."
like realistically, like not everything is good. Let's just keep it a
No.
buck. Like
Oh,
not
and
everything
that's
is
the thing.
good.
Like, and the problem is a lot, and like for me, I even when I talk about when everybody always talks about like Harrier and they want to buy all these issues, I straight up tell them, I go, the first issue was the first comic I ever read. I go, it gets better, and I'll tell them it gets better. Just take a back seat, kind of, because it is not my best work. And I'll tell them that. Like, I'm not afraid to because I know my work now is 100 times better and getting better. Um,
As it should, right? That's the
but a
whole
lot of
point.
people, but a lot of people can't say that. They can't admit that. They don't want a truth about their book because they just want to keep going. It's like, well, that's fine if you want to keep going with what you got, but you got to learn and take some criticism, some I should say constructed criticism,
Yeah,
and go with it. Like it might hurt. They might say, "Yeah, this book sucks." Okay, tell me why it sucks.
right.
Why? What can I do
Yeah,
better to make it better? And some people don't want to hear it. They don't care. They don't want to hear it.
right.
And I'm like, you don't want to be better. That's the whole point. That's the whole
Yeah,
point of writing.
yeah.
And it's one thing that I always want to hear from people is, what did you truly like about it? Is there something you maybe were distracted by or didn't like? It's like, well, let me know because I'm gonna take it in, learn from it, and make it better for the next issue.
My only critique of
Here it
Beast One.
is.
No, I'm serious. My literal only critique. There's a misspelling. There's a
Oh,
misspelling because she says to her dad, she calls him a top rated uh like ex-military or whatever,
I don't even know where I put up. I don't even know where I put the beats at right now. I was trying to
and
go look for it.
and it says topped rated. So it's
Uh,
just like literally like
oh,
because I like read it and then I like went back to read it again. I'm like, did I like misread this? Like, what did I just like? And that was really the only. That's honestly my only critique. Everything else is solid. Like everything else is great. I love the way she communicates with people. I
yeah,
love
I
and
see
that
it.
she has multiple ways to communicate with people. Like I love that. Wasn't expecting like that more direct way, right? I
It does
wasn't.
say top. It says top ranked Marines, so I guess that's right. I don't know. I'll have to look later. But it is always one of my things. Like I'll say even say Wardens too. Like I went too fast with a lot of the dialogue, and I made a lot of grammar problems. Not like misspellings, but run on sentences.
Right.
And I seen it. I'm like, that's not. I should have slowed down. I should have did it right. And that's where I learn to get myself a little bit better each time.
Yeah. I mean that's all you could do, right? Is get better with each
Yeah.
iteration, right? Every new thing you do, you're gonna get better. Because
Yeah.
there's definitely the battle as a creator of do I put it out now or do I like perfect it and then put it out later. But then,
Yeah.
your idea of perfected is going to change over time. So a
Yeah.
perfect version of the thing you want to make may
Doesn't
never
exist.
may never
It
exist.
doesn't
Like it
exist.
can't happen because you're
No.
always going to find something to nitpick out of it. Whereas if you're just like, hey, that's why, with my novella, like I have the comic book, the first arc, I have the script is ready, but like I have an idea of what I want the art to look like, and the artists that have that style are expensive. So I was like, well, how do I want to write something in this universe, but like I want to put something out to kind of like start building this world and building up the buzz for it. And I was like, well, I could just write a novel. Like I could write a small book, like a short prequel.
Yep.
So that's what I did. And now, because I had a coworker read it, she literally came back to me and was like, "When's the next one? I need more." And I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" So like I got my first fan. Like I was just like, "Holy shit." Like I wasn't expecting that. So now I've completely reworked my plan because my original plan was like, I'm gonna do this prequel, and then there's like a different little prequel story that I wanted to do. And I was like, I'll do like three little novellas of like various prequel elements of this universe and put them into one book. And then she was so excited about this one and the characters in this one. And I was like, and like I really literally reworked how I'm gonna tell the story. So now this run of novellas is gonna be sort of a mirror to the graphic novel, and we're gonna see like this character's perspective through some of the events in the graphic novel and vice versa. So
Okay.
now, so like I like came up with a whole new thing because I got a fan, and I was like, well, if I got one fan, I'm gonna have to assume that other people are gonna like this as much, and they're gonna want more of these characters because like the novella is sort of like a background character of the comic, so he wouldn't show up till about halfway through the first arc anyway, and even then like very background. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Having fans is the best feeling in the world.
yeah,
It
oh
is.
yeah,
Oh, it is the best, and that's why I look at some people like, man, like that's why I go to cons sometimes because they know where I'm going.
yeah.
And at Two Rivers, I ran into two of them. One of them, he finds me no matter what. But he'd be like, which one do I not have? Like he's looking at the table, which one do I not
That's
have?
what's up.
And I'm like, man, you are just here every time. And another one, he bought every single cover of Beats. Every single cover. I'm like,
That's awesome.
dude. And he's like, it's so good. I'm like, I'm happy.
That's awesome.
I'm like, now you just need to show up for Beats too.
Yeah, right.
But it's always like it is the best feeling in the world, honestly, when they come up and they want to talk about it. And I'm like, I can't spoil it for you, but you should be excited because there's so much I want to write and show and tell and like how crazy it's gonna get. Um, like some of these villains, man, they've never Marvel doesn't even make as terrifying villains as some of these guys, like as you see, Mister
that last
Toxie
that
here.
last page was definitely like, yo, all right.
Oh, he is one of the most fun to write. And when I got to make a trailer for him for the trailer for Beats 2, it like I hired my part-time job, one of the guys, he's been trying to be a voice actor. He goes to a lot
Mm,
of these classes and stuff like that. I'm like, let's do it. Like, let's see what you got. I had to modify his voice to sound like more of a mask. Um, but overall, we were happy with what happened. And man, when I heard the voice of the torture and everything for that opening sequence, oh man, I was happy.
that's what's up, man. Is that video on TikTok?
Yep.
Sweet.
Do turn your volume like down because at the very beginning there's a scream from him who he's torturing.
Fair enough, fair
So
enough.
it is very loud, and I didn't mean to put it that way, but it is. It's on there. Can't fix it. Um, but it's I was really happy because I got a guy that does what do you call that? Uh, Motion comic animation.
Okay.
I had somebody who's really good at it. They went through all the pages, did all that, and I was like, man, I love this. And what's funny is it's on YouTube. It's been on TikTok. It's been on everything, and it's got like no traction.
That's
Like
and
I
that's I
can't
don't know.
win.
I don't know, man. It's yeah, there's something we're missing something in the formula. We're missing something in the
Something,
formula for
man.
your stuff, man, because I feel like there's definitely there should be more eyes on your work.
And like, and that's what I look at when I look at a lot of things. Um, Whether it comes to, and I'll kind of say a little bit like heroic awards, like, you know, just other Kickstarters to all this. It's like, I don't understand why some of these works get put on a pedestal and it's just not, like it feels like it feels like I'm up here with my work and they're down here, but yeah, we're flip flopped, and I'm like, I can't be crazy looking at this. Like I just can't. Um, and I'd have I and it can be unfair that what I'm saying this because I don't know all the books.
Right.
But when I look at the covers and look who's writing it, and I'm like, that can't be right. That can't, and so it's just more of I just gotta do my own thing,
Yeah, I
and
mean
I just gotta
that
keep going, and
that's honestly
I
that's the
can't get
biggest
distracted.
that's the biggest element of it. I think there's something to be said, just like keeping a good cadence of work and putting stuff out. I always mention Carissa Grant because uh
Oh, excellent,
she's
excellent.
hustling out here. She's putting out a ton of work. Granted, even she has said, and I always caveat this because even she caveats this, shouldn't do it the way she did it because she put herself in a bunch of financial debt
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
she told me.
to
She
to
told me
get
that.
to get to like having the amount of work she does ahead of time, essentially ahead of release.
Mm.
But like just the consistent presence and consistent like showing off. Uh, I think a good thing she's doing lately. Um, I don't know exactly like how much of it is like, and essentially it doesn't matter how much of it is real or just like manufactured for the clicks and sort of for
Yeah,
the engagement. Um, but like she posts like sketches, like cover sketches from the artist, and she'll ask people which one should we do. She may already have one picked.
yeah,
She's not dumb. She knows which one is the better cover, but it
yeah,
gets engagement. It gets people thinking about it. Oh, there's a new issue coming out. Oh, there's like new stuff, right? So like, there's a new card dropping. Like I collect a lot of the metal cards she's got. So like,
yeah,
there's just all like it keeps people engaged. There's things to do to get people more engaged and just like thinking about the work more often.
yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing and especially like with a production like timeline, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months of any kind of book, you're gonna have people forget about it. Honestly, like I've gotten Kickstarter packages where I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I backed this because I backed it 8 months ago. I don't remember this, because it was
oh,
like
yeah,
the campaign funded, and then they went to work. They went to work on the book, and then they stopped posting. There's nothing, so there's no active consideration in the brain, right? There's no anything happening. So like there's something, I don't know, there needs to be something, some sort of, I don't know, we need to create some sort of like some sort
the
of like
pro
indie comics fight league or something, debate section. Like we need to get people engaged in the indie space more. I got to give it up to Impound. They're doing their fighting game, right? So
Yeah.
their focus, like their whole thing, is about character, power scaling, and all that stuff. Like that's kind of part of their universe. So it makes
Yeah.
sense for them to have that, right? It makes sense for them to have that as a marketing tool. So like there's different ways to do this stuff. There's different ways to engage with it. And also think there's different platforms that work for different things. So like I think if for something like this, the little trailer, I think that is a short thing. That's like that works really well on shorts, on reels, with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know how. I just don't think it's formatted for YouTube now. YouTube now really really likes long form. It likes long
Yeah.
podcasts. It likes, that's why I still do a 2 3 hour sit down. Like
Oh
once
yeah.
once in a while we do a shorty. When somebody's like, oh, I only got a half hour for you. I'd be like, all right, we'll do what we can. But like I prefer a longer conversation because we can get into more of the topics. So
Oh
I just
yeah.
think there's a little more finessing that needs to be kind of thought about when we market the indie stuff, because different platforms like different things. Um, I think you have to. I think advertising on Instagram works better, honestly, because I've found more like campaigns, and I've been driven to more campaigns through Instagram ads. I don't
Okay.
think I've ever seen an ad for a comic. Mind you, almost all of my friends on TikTok are comic book people, but I don't think I've ever seen a comic book ad. No, that's not true. I've seen a couple, but it's always been people who like aren't kickstarting currently. So it's just like an ad for the thing, but like it's just essentially an ad for their profile. Because there's
Well,
no there's no product. It's like people who are like, oh, like coming soon, and I'm like, when soon? like this
well,
seems cool, seems interesting. When is this happening? Because then it's like you've spent ad money on something that like doesn't exist yet and doesn't have a date yet, so it doesn't make sense to me. But like I don't think I've ever seen like a Kickstarter campaign ad or anything like, yeah, on TikTok, the most ads I see are like the fucking bullshit games and the fucking, shop links or whatever. That's the thing I think you need to get on. Is I think you need to
I
get on that
actually
TikTok shop.
I did that, and it
That's what's
doesn't
up.
work.
What do you mean?
It
What do you mean it
didn't
doesn't work?
work for me at all.
Is it
So
on
I
is it on
actually
there?
put
Oh, you did. That's
I
right. I did see it.
it was with Mel promoting the book, and I put a thing for a link that brings you straight to the Kickstarter, like straight there, and it's got like 57,000 or something views. And since I put it there, not one person has touched it.
No, no, no. But
And
I'm
I'm
saying
like,
I'm saying you need to
it's
you need
crazy.
to activate a TikTok shop, and you need to sell your books through TikTok shop.
I thought about it, but as with TikTok kind of like might disappear, might not,
It ain't going
I'm
nowhere.
kind of like, I know, but it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to make it, and then they're just like, bye, and then they're gone for months.
I
And I'm
mean,
like,
the way I see it, man, is get your money, get the money. If it's only going to be around for the next 3 months, get the money for the next 3 months. I think that's a big factor of Danny. Brian finally got on there with Wingless Comics. Like he's got his stuff on there. Like the stuff is there, and then it also, if you make it promotable or whatever, you can give people like a
yeah,
tiny commission or whatever. Um, then people can talk about it and link to it. So like more people are linking to your product for the
yeah,
sale. So like, and then on TikTok you can also like mark it up a little bit, because obviously TikTok's got to take their cut. So there's a little bit of a there's you can have a little bit of a price difference there.
yeah. The
So
other thing with the shop though is because I've done a shop before where I had like a side hustle doing comic or Pokemon cards.
hmm.
at the time. I was just buying, selling graded, nothing crazy, and I did it for a little bit. It was fun getting to meet Pokemon fans, stuff like that. But the one issue I had with the shop was that the payments took at least a month. So you're selling, but you're not seeing that money for like a whole month.
Right.
And I'm like, that can hurt businesses if you're going to take that long to give them the money.
Mhm.
Because it's like, oh, I sold product, but now I have to wait a month to get it back.
Right. Right. I can definitely see that being a downside.
Yeah. So like
I
I
just I
have,
just know that they promote shop links. They promote shop videos. Um,
yeah,
so like, like right now, if you let's say you had it on there, you could be talking about Beats One, like, oh, you could check it out right here. And if you want to get the next one, check over to the Kickstarter. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they still
yeah.
would promote that.
Oh yeah. And it is something I've looked at. Like I said, I'm with that ban that it could just vanish in a second. I'm like, do I want to take my time to produce something and then it just disappears and I feel like I've
Yeah,
wasted my
I feel
time?
you.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like, where is my time? Where should I invest? I do need to invest in a lot of my website though. You said when before everything that it might be having problems, so I gotta get on that definitely tonight.
Yeah,
So it should be fixed by the time this comes out, but we'll see
definitely.
see
Yeah.
what happens. But yeah, I need to get that's number one. It's like if there's a problem, I need to fix it.
Right, right. And that's why, like, I've been offering my services to people for website stuff because I've been doing websites for 25 years now. So like,
Yeah.
I uh I don't like advertise my services to like businesses anymore, like out in the world businesses, just because
Yeah.
the few clients I've had over the years, it's just been like there's just like a lot of abstractness with people who aren't creatives, like
Yeah.
with people who like, I've got like a home improvement kind of client. And I remember when we were first building there, like I can never let this go just because it was so annoying. But it was like when we were building the site, I presented the final product to them. They're like, it just doesn't feel right. And I was like, do you not like the color or like the layout? Like what doesn't feel right? They're like, that just doesn't feel right. And I was
It
like,
just doesn't feel
and I was
that's
like,
not
do you want me to try a different color scheme? No, the color's fine. And I'm like, okay. Literally went home. I'm staring at this thing. My friend comes over and she's like, just change the color. And I'm like, she said the color was fine. She's like, just change the color. And I was like, okay, fine. So I changed nothing else. Just changed the color. Presented it. She's like, that looks so great. I'm like, the fuck? I asked you what was the color. So it was just like when people aren't creatives, they can't verbalize what they don't like about a site. So I
yeah.
was like, over the years, I was like, I'm good not. So that's why I really try to like go to creatives. Like I'm trying to help out a few comic shops in the area because like comic shop websites are rough.
Yeah, we've been so talking about comic shops with Beats 2. This is the first time that we're actually going to be in shops. The first time.
What do you mean?
Uh,
So you've got I know you've got a retailer tier. Is
yep.
that people have already
That
bought
is
bought in?
that is for now anybody can buy it. But the thing is, it's supposed to be more for the retailers part
Yeah, of course.
that hey, we invest, $3 a book, we sell for $5 a book. And on top of that, they get if they buy the one package, it comes with a 1 out of 5 variant, um, which is the Fates Angels. Um, and then if they buy a bigger package, it comes not only with two 1 out of 5 variants, but it comes with the 1 out of 10 variant, which I did find an artist for it. Um, it is expensive,
Of course it is. Art is
but
expensive.
the overall cover is going to be absolutely breathtaking. So that is a big thing for the retailers. It's kind of a big thank you for them to invest in the books. But it is the first time that we've had actual comic shops, um, want to invest and put our books on the shelves.
Mm.
So that was like we've had shops that we've talked to before. They're like, yeah, we'll put it on the shelf, blah blah blah. And the very next week, it's in the back issues, in the boxes. I'm like,
Oof.
well, if you were just gonna do that, then why'd I even bother?
Oof.
But no, uh, but I'm still grateful for those shops for taking it in the first place. But it's kind of like, well, if you didn't sell it, just hand it back to me. You know,
Right.
tell me because it's not going to sell in a back issues. Um, but no, this is the first time we got one shop that's invested, and another is somewhere in the next uh, 10 days of the campaign, 11 days. Um, they've already told me that somebody's on it, so.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
And I told them straight to their face, like, I don't think you understand. I'm pretty sure you have an idea, but I'm like, I don't think you understand how much that means to a self-publisher that you invested in the book. So it's a pretty big deal.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Love to see it. Love to see it. Um, I've got a local shop up here that is pretty open to bringing in indie creators as well. So I'm actually going to be bringing in some stuff to sell. I'm going to essentially act as an indie distributor. I'm going to be buying some of those retailer tiers and bringing them into to shops. So I've got one shop already essentially ready to give me shelf space whenever I'm ready for the book. So I'm waiting for one shipment right now from Danny. Um,
Yeah.
and once that's here, we're gonna put it up. I already got a buyer for the whole run. So like somebody's already like super hyped that it's coming in. So like it's exciting to be in a shop, especially because you
Yeah,
get you get that physical experience. There's really nothing that can mimic that online. It's like that physical picking it up, checking out the cover, diving in. There's just nothing like that.
yeah, because the way that I wanted to do it was I didn't want shops to feel too much that, oh, this is a big investment, going with this. That's why I put the tier at um $30 for the first tier. I'm like, you'll get both issues, one and two. You'll get five each. It's $10. Or not $10. It's $3 a book. You'll get a variant that you can sell for higher. So you'll get not only your $2 on top of every book that you can sell. You also get the variant you can sell for. I haven't even put a price on it, honestly. I'm just letting the shops do that part.
Sure.
um, but I wanted them to feel like they were getting something out of this exchange because I do support my local shops. But any shop can do it. I do have the tiers for outside of St. Louis area.
Well, maybe we'll jump on that as well and get another shelf spot on for the indie catalyst section.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Well, sir, I'm excited for this book. I'm glad it's already funded. I'm super hyped to read it. You said October is when it's gonna be ready. That's my birthday month, so
Yes.
happy birthday to me. I'm psyched for that. If you have not yet checked out Beats, make sure you check out Beats 1 through 2 on Kickstarter. It's exciting. It's a good book. It's fun to read. Great character, innovative use of power and the power type, and I think you're just gonna have a fun time reading this book. Uh, Thomas, where can people find you on the internet?
Fake comics on basically all socials. Uh, and I mean pretty much all socials, and fakecomics.com.
Outstanding. We're gonna be fixing that store link, the store so you can buy those comics right now on fakecomics.com.
Yep.
That's gonna be it for this one, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next one.